Hello, good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, coming to you live from our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up this evening, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin indefinitely postpones the resumption of Parliament with no clear reason given. We'll try and find out what exactly is the reason behind the Speaker's decision to postpone the reopening of Parliament. Also coming up, 12 suspected illegal miners arrested for destroying sections of the Western Railway line. We have the full story for you in a moment. And later, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Antwi Boasiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, to be arraigned before court on Tuesday after being granted a 1 million Ghana cedi bail with 2 sureties over alleged illegal mining activities. Details of all of these and more coming up with the next 1 hour. Do stay with us. Before that, though, let's bring you the news summaries.
Thank you, Martin. And this is Safwa Boahini bringing you the news summaries right there. Into our first story, Ashanti Regional NPP Chairman Antwi Boasiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, has been granted 1 million cedi bail with 2 sureties after appearing before the CID over alleged illegal mining activities linked to Akonta mining. The move follows a warning from Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine, who had threatened arrest if Wontumi failed to report. Investigations into Akonta mining are ongoing, with 1 other person arrested. Police say Wontumi had previously missed appointments due to illness but has since resumed cooperation. Away from that, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has indefinitely postponed the 3rd meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament, originally set for October 14, 2025, citing reasons beyond his control. The House had gone on recess on August 1 after passing key bills and agreements. The upcoming session was expected to feature the 2026 budget presentation, swearing in of 2 new MPs, and debate on major national issues. A new date for resumption is yet to be announced. Into a third story now. Starting October 6, 2025, minors aged 6 to 14 years who receive their Ghana cards can now use their personal biodata for transactions rather than relying on third parties. The National Identification Authority, NIA, is issuing over 350,000 cards across 56 districts, clearing a backlog from a previous registration that faced technical challenges. The resumed exercise marks a key step in giving children formal identity, with new registrations expected to be announced soon. And also 12 suspected illegal miners have been arrested for damaging a section of the Takrady-Nsuta railway line in the western region. They face charges including illegal mining conspiracy and unlawful damage, and are set to appear in court on October 7, 2025. The arrest followed a viral video showing mining activity dangerously close to the tracks and the assault of a Ghana Railway Company staff member. Let's bring you our last story, where 3 people, including a mother and her son, died in a head-on collision on the Accra-Kumasi highway near Udumasi-Ohenin-Kwanta on Sunday, October 5, 2025. The crash involved a BMW saloon car and a Toyota Yaris, with police citing wrongful overtaking by the BMW driver as the cause. 2 victims died instantly, while a third succumbed to injuries at the hospital. Several others were injured and taken for treatment. The incident has renewed calls for stricter road safety enforcement. And this is where we end our news summary segment. And over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, Safwa, for those news summaries. Let's delve into the details now. And we are starting from Parliament, where it will no longer resume next week Tuesday because the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has postponed the upcoming meeting indefinitely. For reasons beyond his control, the Speaker says his initial notice for members to return to post on 14th October can no longer hold. A new date will be announced later. This development comes at a time when the House was expected to consider key legislative and policy matters, including the presentation of the 2026 budget statement and economic policy. Estimates for ministries, departments and agencies would equally delay with no end in sight to the ongoing recess of the legislative body. When the House resumes, 2 new members of Parliament on the majority side, including Bernard Bediako for Akwetia and Professor Asiedu-Dartey for Tamale Central, would be sworn into office, and this is one keenly expected. Let's find out from our parliamentary correspondent what he's been able to pick up as a result of the news we've got that the House will not reconvene as expected for next week, Tuesday. Christian Yali is our parliamentary correspondent. He's joined us for a quick chat. Christian, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Have you been able to pick any information as to why the House will not reconvene as expected?
Martin, already there's one that critics of this government have raised concerns about. For many who believe that there are a number of legislative instruments like the LI 2462 that allows mining in forest reserves, which they believe that this is just a diversionary tactic or a delay tactic by the House to prevent a possible repeal of this law. It is one that critics have raised. There is another issue even concerning the fact that, according to some of them, and when you talk to members from the opposition and their supporters, that government seemingly lacks the necessary financial resources to fund activities of the various MDAs, for which reason they are delaying in, resuming the duty of the legislative arm of government. The Speaker of Parliament has not indicated the actual reasons, what he cites to be circumstances beyond his control. Yet, it is one coming at a time when you have a lot of national issues being at the front burner, that one would presuppose that the House would have reconvened as soon as possible to delve into some of these matters. You know about the issue about the Ghana-U.S. deportation deal, which has been at the front burner. Very recently, somewhere last week or two, we had the Minority Caucus raise concerns about it, and a fact that the government should, as a matter of urgency, submit that memorandum of understanding before Parliament for parliamentary ratification. But you know that the harm has been caused already, because government has, in a way, accepted some of these deportees, and some of them have been, sent to their countries of origin. There is also that issue raging debate about the DSTV subscription rate, which the minority has even called for the head of the communication minister, Sam Nate George. The majority MPs have rebutted that and called that call as, uncalled for or dead on arrival. So there are issues, national ones really, that you expect a parliamentary intervention sort of. And so many had expected that next week by the Tuesday, which is October 14th, the House would have resumed, so that some of these issues would have received a parliamentary, oversight and action taken upon them thereof. But with this latest move by the Speaker, which in a way is just giving us a no sight or end in sight to the recess that is currently holding, it raises a lot of questions, really, Martin.
Right, and I'm sure you've also at least interacted with a number of members of Parliament ahead of the expected resumption, which has now been put on ice. What have they been telling you regarding this new announcement? What have you picked up?
Martin, you know that already you have the minority raising concerns even about the recent engagement by the president with CSOs on environment concerning illegal mining, which they see it to be nothing really, because they realize that one of the concerns even has been that if government could not provide ample time for the CSOs to ask questions, and it was just one that was full of presentation, then really it wasn't, it could not give much result as were desired or required. And so the minority already has had, an entrenched position about how they feel of government so far in office, and how some of the promises that were made by current ministers when they were in opposition, for instance, about ending Galamsey or being able to end Galamsey in one day, in 24 hours, We know that there are people like Sam Nate George, for instance, who are on record to have made such pronouncements way back in opposition before coming into office. And so many of the minority MPs assessing the 9 or 10 months of government in office are of the view that there are a number of failures on the side of government in dealing with some of those urgent issues like that of Galamsey, for instance, for which reason they believe that the delay in the resumption of duty for members of parliament is one that is not in a good faith. Also because you would expect that somewhere next month in November, we should have the budget presentation for the 2026 fiscal year, which should come with its own work because it takes a lot. You mentioned the estimate for ministries, departments, and agencies, and once all of these are done, that would bring in the issue of the appropriation bill that would have to be approved by Parliament. That also takes some days. Martin, you remember that there are a lot of legislative instruments that did not mature before Parliament went on recess in August. And so some of those legislative instruments and some of the bills that were presented, that were referred back to the committees to look at them, are to be looked at. And so it looks like a lot of
There's quite a lot to be done.
Of it really ahead of Parliament. And so further delays wouldn't be helpful.
All right. Christian Yali, thank you for your time and giving us, at least an idea of what some MPs are thinking about ahead of the resumption of Parliament. So we'll definitely update you subsequently on what the issue is as regards why the Speaker has decided to postpone the resumption of Parliament. And in a jiffy, we would also try and get, someone who's been monitoring the space, who actually has followed parliamentary conversations and deliberations for a number of years now, to find out what he is also gleaning from the corridors of power to be the reason why the Speaker may have postponed the House. It is yet to to be clear to especially those who are following parliamentary conversations to find out what exactly the reason may be. But maybe while we wait for that, let's see if we can pick the thoughts of Dr. Rashid Draman, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Doc, good evening. Thank you for your time on 3FM.
Good evening, Martin.
To start with, what is your understanding of what the Speaker says that the postponement of the resumption of Parliament is as a result of reasons beyond his control? Is anything really beyond the control of the Speaker?
Well, right now, I think this is subject to a lot of interpretations and guesswork, given that the Right Honourable Speaker didn't clearly say why. I mean, he would have helped all of us if he had said clearly the reasons. But I can hazard a number of possible reasons. Perhaps there's an emergency situation where the entire leadership of Parliament might be out of town. That's number one. Number two, it could be the case that Parliament doesn't have money. And we know that our economy has been in a situation where we understand monies are not being spent. So that might be the second reason. Maybe the third reason might be perhaps maybe something coming from the executive, and they've not been able to have some clear understanding, given that in our country, a lot of the legislative business comes from the executive. So it could be the case that there are some kind of issues that need to be ironed out. But whatever it is, Martin, I think it's not good for our country, because if there is any parliamentary meeting that is very important in the life of any parliament, it is the meeting where the budget of the country and economic policies are considered, and this is that one. And if we have a situation like this, I think it doesn't speak very well about our country, and also the fact that there has been an effort to reset the country. This is when we would have seen everything running smoothly, And then, most importantly, we are not in the 8th Parliament. We are in the 9th Parliament, where even if some members are absent, it doesn't really affect legislative business. So I think we are in for some interesting times,
right.
And we need to watch that space very carefully.
And that was actually one of the questions I had, that how would this affect government business? We have a government that intends to run as quickly as possible, cover enough grounds, and do that smoothly. Fortunately for this government, they have majority in Parliament. So yes. What could possibly be the hindrance for them to have the legislature also working so that the executive and legislature and probably the judiciary can all work in a coordinated manner?
I guess, Nathan, is very interesting. I believe if it was the 8th Parliament, perhaps we would have heard from the leadership of Parliament clearly why this is happening. But, understanding the nature of this Parliament, where the Speaker of Parliament is from the stock of the NDC, perhaps there are a number of things that the Right Honourable Speaker doesn't want to put in the public domain. And whatever it is, I think it smells like there is some friction between the executive and the legislature. And this needs to be dealt with as quickly as possible. Otherwise, and then we have to also remember, this is not a president who has the luxury of time, because he doesn't have a second term. This is a government that is already 1 year old. So they need to move very, very fast. And earlier they treat the legislature with a lot of care. I think the better it is going to be for the business of our country.
And finally, there should be a stipulated time that Parliament should sit, right? So maybe for 3 months continuous.
Yes,
so if there is
indeed.
this kind of a delay, who would demand that they do the extra days that they have not been sitting?
Well, and they don't have in this particular meeting, they don't have the luxury of any extra days, because by Christmas everything has to come to an end. So that is where, there's even a more serious problem, because in other meetings they could shift, increase the number of days and so on. But this one, by Christmas, everything has to come to a close so that the Appropriations Act is passed and then government spending begins. Otherwise, we are going to have a crisis, because if the budget is not passed before the rise for Christmas,
that could be problematic.
It will mean that government doesn't have money to spend, and we might be experiencing some of what the U.S. is experiencing right now.
Right, Doc. Well, like you said, it's early days now, so we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see how the coming days play out. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We've been speaking to Dr. Rashid Draman, who is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. And like he indicated, there are a lot more questions than answers, and we are uncertain on what exactly the reason might be. But if you're just joining us, the news is that the Speaker of Parliament has postponed the recall of the House, and the reason he gave is that it is because of reasons beyond his control. As to what that exactly means, well, the coming days will probably let us know. But this is still Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's go on to some other stories we have for you. The very disturbing story that came from the Western region earlier today, where the police have taken quick action. It is that 12 persons suspected to be illegal miners have been arrested for allegedly engaging in activities that led to the destruction of a section of the railway line linking Takrady to Nsuta through Achim in the Western region. The suspects, Dennis Adom, Alex Kofi Akwa, Kwame Simon, Isaac Ahin, Larry Koku, Lambong Moisi, Ali Asuma, Nuruddin Kobina, Jude Azuma, Yendari Bomba, Jonathan Ayando, and Daniel Combat are all residents of Achim. They have been charged with conspiracy to commit crime, undertaking mining operations without a license and causing unlawful damage. The suspects are currently in police custody and are expected to be arraigned before court on the 7th of October 2025. Let's speak to our correspondent first to paint a picture for us what exactly the situation looks like. Stephen Kajoli joins us. Hello, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. First of all, give us an idea, for those who do not know, what kind of destruction are we talking about?
Okay, the destruction was done on the Takwale to Nsita line. This line was once the lifeline of the Ghana Railway Company, as it was used to convey manganese from Takwa to Takwale. But over time, the service has halted, so the stretch has been dormant for a long time. So it was during a routine inspection that the officials from the Ghana Railway Company stormed on that rail line that they led to the discovery of this incident. When the team got to the site, they were shocked at the level of destruction that they saw. As you can see from the video that has gone viral, you can see that the rail line is in the mid-air as the grounds or the earth around it has all been evacuated and it is suspending mid-air. They were shocked at what they saw. So in the process, they tried as much as possible to halt the Galamseyers from ongoing or continue to do the mining along the stretch. But in the process, the Galamseyers got violent and they attacked one of the officers, that the Takwa area manager, but by spraying him with some muddy Galamsey muddy water. This led him to make a formal complaint to the police, and it was followed by a prompt arrest where some 12 persons have been arrested and they have been charged with 3 counts of undertaking mining operation without licenses and causing unlawful damage. They will be put before court, God willing, tomorrow, 7th October. The community where this incident happened is called Achem. It is a farming community under the Takwa municipality. And over the years, the activities of illegal mining has been pervasive in the community. And the Ghana Railway Company is no stranger to the news because they have had cause to call the arrest of some persons. So it is instructive to know that this is not the first time that they are making such arrests. Previous arrests have led Ghana Railway Company to have some stakeholder engagement with traditional leaders and community members. And during that engagement, it was resolved that a buffer zone should be created and no form of Galamsey activity should be done beyond or anywhere close to the rail line. And it was also agreed that the deep pit that they have created along the track should be reclaimed. But as we can speak, and with the situation that we have currently, none of these resolutions have been met, leading to the further destructions of this rail line.
Right. Now, also, tell us how important is this rail line and the level of destruction. Does that mean no rail can use it?
This rail, as I said earlier, is very, very key. As a matter of fact, it is the lifeline of the Ghana Railway Company. With us, currently, the passenger train is not working. The only source of revenue for Ghana Railway now is the conveyance of manganese from Takwa to Takwale, and they use this Takwale to Nsita line. That's the only stretch or line that they use to convey this manganese. But currently, with the state of affairs and the level of destruction, it is not possible that they can use the stretch because it is the track. The lines are flying mid-air. So it is not possible that a train can pass on that track. It will lead to further distractions.
And can you also help us understand whether it's far remote from a community? Like, do we have a settlement close to the railway line that was destroyed? And I'm asking this because it looks quite surprising. And for our listeners, if you go to our Facebook page right now where we are streaming, you get to see a picture of the damage caused by these Galamseyers. So, Stephen, I'm asking this question as in, is it that nobody saw the activities of these Galamseyers? Was it that they woke up one day and realized the damage to the rail line, or people saw it but nobody could stop them?
The real where the thing is happening is not far from the community, and it is a known thing. It is it's something that the situation is known to the community, because with my check with authorities at the Ghana, like I said, this is not the first time they've had a stakeholder engagement with them, but it has come to the point that their Chem community, aside the farming, the only thing that they know is illegal mining. That's the Galamsey. So it is something that the community leaders are known, the community members know, but all of them have turned away from speaking against the phenomenon. It has led, that's why it has given way for them to be continuing to do that. Like I said, this is not the first time that they are making arrests. They have been doing it over the years, but still the community members or the Galamseyers are heavily doing that activity on that stretch.
And finally, these individuals must be known, right? They are community people, so people within the area know them, right?
My checks with the police, when they made their arrest, they confirmed to me that the 12 of them are all residents of Achim, so they are known in the community.
All right. And have you engaged some of the community people? What do they make of it? To the extent that this damage could affect even them, have they said anything about it?
They are divided. Speaking to some of them, they express worry. They express worry the kind of level of destruction that they have. It is being done, particularly to the railway, because it is a national or state asset that we need to protect. But because of Galamsey activities that some section of the public or the community members have also been condoning, it has led to there. So it is a mixed reaction within the community.
All right, Stephen, we'll have to leave it here, but thank you, and do keep an eye on this particular story for us, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking to Stephen Kujo, who is our correspondent in the region, specifically around the central and western area, and has been monitoring the arrest of some 12 individuals for illegal mining, which has caused destruction to the rail line, a very important rail line, like the correspondent indicated. And this has, because of this activity, the line has been temporarily halted, or train activities on that line has been halted to allow for assessment and subsequent repair. So what exactly does this mean for business along that stretch? We'll try and get some further answers for you, and why this Galamsey issue has become a national canker that we all need to ensure that we stop, because it is not only apparently water bodies and forest reserves that are being destroyed. Now, infrastructure, important infrastructure like rail lines, and even to some extent normal roads have been affected as a result of these illegal activities. If you are in and around that area, or are somewhere else where Galamsey is affecting the very life of people who live in and around the area, do send us a message on our Facebook page, and I will be happy to share it with the rest of the world, and probably call attention of the agencies, the appropriate authorities, to that situation, so they can quickly attend to it to save life and property. This is still 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. In a moment, we'll also try and speak to the CEO of the Ghana Railway Authority on how long they have known this, how come it is now that they've been able to affect the arrest, etc., and what is the plan in getting that particular line back on track. We'll try and pick some answers from the CEO of the Ghana Railway Authority, as well as your comments as well. So do listen and send your messages through on our Facebook page. We are excited that you're part of this show. Let's go on to some other stories now. And for those of you who've been following, Chairman Wontumi, who is the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman, has been in Accra following an invitation that was given or thrown to him by the Attorney General last week, Friday, on issues regarding illegal mining. So the earlier story we brought and this are related somewhat. So the specifics of today's story is that the regional chairman, Ashanti Regional Chair of the NPP, Antwi Boasiako, many of you will know him as Chairman Wontumi, he has been granted bail to the tune of 1 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties, and this follows his appearance before the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. 3 mining-related charges are expected to be preferred against him on Tuesday, the 7th of October, 2025, at the High Court in Accra. My colleague Noble Crosby Annan was at the police headquarters where he met the CID officers and has come through with his report.
Than any other offer you can get in the market. No product sells 20 GB for 50 Ghana cedis. I mean data and...
Apologies for that. We'll bring you a report on the meeting between Chairman Wontumi and the CID. And you'd recall that last week, Friday, when President John Mahama met with the CSOs and religious bodies, they raised a number of concerns. And the President, with his ministers, managed to answer a number of these concerns that were raised earlier about the fact that we need to collectively fight illegal mining. These CSOs had been largely calling for a declaration of a state of emergency, and after an assessment, the President gave them the assurance that it is not possible to right now declare a state of emergency because the national security assessment that he gets does not give the clearance yet that he can declare a state of emergency. So the President gave the assurance that he is definitely working with the other needed security agencies, and at the right time, when they do give him the go-ahead to declare a state of emergency, he, as President of the Republic, will not hesitate in doing so. But it looks like we are having a new twist to the tale. These CSOs are also asking government to do more beyond the conversations and the meetings and the conferences to fix this problem of a national canker. Some have called it eco-terrorism. And I've said that these individuals are terrorists who are frustrating or destroying the future of the country and must be dealt with appropriately. And the government says that they have all the indications to do that and are interested in doing so. So, what might be the reason why there seemed to be a challenge in the fight against Galamsey? And talking about a fight against Galamsey, we know that there has been the confirmation by the security agencies that some individuals have been arrested. A report was submitted, and one of those reports that is under investigation, according to the Attorney General, is that of Chairman Wontumi, the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chair. And what we do know is that he was earlier invited, and the Attorney General has said he seemed to be evading the service of a summons or the service to appear in Accra or in court. And on Friday, the Attorney General said that the Ashanti Regional Chair, the Chairman Wontumi, had up till today, Monday, to come to Accra and appear before the investigative body, which he did in the presence of his lawyers. And on the back of that, he has been granted a 1 million Ghana cedi bail, and we are told that he will appear in court tomorrow where his charges will be leveled against him. So let's listen to him, hopefully.
The trial of the Ashanti...
Whilst our reporter, Noble Crosby Annan, who was in court, has joined us for... has sent this report through following the meeting between Chairman Wontumi and the police service.
The trial of the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, Antwi Boasiako, is set to begin on Tuesday, October 7, 2025. This follows his appearance before the CID on Monday, October 6, in compliance with the directive from the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayeni. Dr. Ayeni had early on Friday, October 3, cautioned that the NPP Regional Chairman would be arrested if he failed to report to the CID, stressing that the charges against him had already been approved.
The charges against Chairman Wontumi Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday, but I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order for his arrest.
Lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, Antwi Boasiako, has described the Attorney General's comments about his client as distasteful.
It is incorrect to anybody to suggest that we have been lukewarm to the invitations from the Director General's office. I know that the Director General works for the Attorney General in terms of prosecution. So I consider the discourse between my good self or my office and the Director General's office as equally, by extension, to the Attorney General's office. But I want to express my disappointment in the warning that the refusal to defer the meeting. The warning was that it should Chairman Wontumi fail to appear. He will order the arrest of Chairman Wontumi to go to Accra. Indeed, we don't need to unnecessarily increase the political temperature in the country. And we have responded to all invitations, all.
Speaking after the engagement with the CID, Antwi Boasiako commended the professionalism of the police service and said his team was fully prepared for Tuesday's court appearance.
Let us also congratulate the police system for being so professional in the discharge of their responsibility. We also take this opportunity to congratulate the Attorney General who has facilitated all this. We will see you in court tomorrow. We are not supposed to prove innocence. Our job is to allow prosecution to finish, and then we will come in with our response. Could be submission of no case, could be a defense to the allegations.
Chairman Wontumi is facing charges linked to alleged illegal mining activities involving Akonta Mining Limited, a company reportedly associated with him.
And that report was put together by Noble Crosby and like he indicated, tomorrow Chairman Wontumi will be in court, and will definitely be there to report or update you on what exactly will transpire. Away from that, we just want you to know also that the former Attorney General Godfrey Dame was part of the team that went with Chairman Wontumi to the CID head office earlier today, and he's also been sharing a thought on what he thinks about the entirety of this investigation that has led to final court proceeding or court appearance. So we'll try and bring you the voice of the former Attorney General in a jiffy when we do get it in. But this is still 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition live from our studio here at Desawe Kanda in Accra. Okay, so other big things have been happening, including the fact that there are some security concerns also being raised about onion glut. We'll get to that in a jiffy. But before that, October 6, 2025, which is today, marks the deadline for the investigative board tasked by the Ministry of Defense to present its report on the helicopter crash which occurred on 6th August 2025. The Ghana Air Force Harbin Z9 helicopter carrying 8 people, including the high-ranking government officials and military personnel, went off the radar shortly after departing Accra. The wreckage was later found in a forest area which had all the members on board killed, and this led to a national mourning, a very heavy moment in our national life. So Judith Brown has been assessing what exactly the expectation should be as we all await to see what should be captured in that report.
October 6, 2025 marks the deadline for the investigative board to submit its report on the August 6, 2025 Z9 military helicopter crash that claimed the lives of 8 people, including Defense Minister Edward Omanibuama and Environment Minister Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed. The board, chaired by the National Security Coordinator, was formed by the Ministry of Defense to investigate the incident and comprised of members from the Ghana Air Force and the Ghana Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. With the support of the United States Air Force investigators providing technical advice and assistance, the board began its work on August 25, 2025, and was given 30 days to complete its investigation. A preliminary investigation team was formed on the day of the crash to collect evidence, and their report was submitted to the board. The investigation involves analyzing the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, also known as a black box, which was recovered from the crash site. The board's primary objectives are to determine the cause of the crash, identify contributing factors, and recommend measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. Now, while the investigation is crucial in providing closure to the families of the victims, it's also very helpful in ensuring that such incidents do not recur. As the nation waits with bated breath, it remains to be seen whether the board will meet the deadline and submit its report today. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Right, so we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out and what the content of the report. Has it been concluded? And when are we likely to hear the full details? We'll update you when we do get it. And let's go on to some other stories where we go to the fact that 8 police officers were injured on Sunday during violent clashes linked to a chieftaincy dispute at Sampa in the Bono region. The Bono Regional Police Command says 7 of the officers have been treated and discharged from Sampa Government Hospital, while 1 who suffered a head injury has also been treated at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. He is said to be responding well to treatment. Before we bring you details of that story, let's go on to the other story having to do with the impact of Galamsey, not just on water bodies but on infrastructure. All right, so we go on to the stories I was bringing you earlier. Now, 8 police officers were injured on Sunday during violent clashes linked to a chieftaincy dispute at Sampa in the Bono region. The Bono Regional Police Command says 7 of the officers have been treated and discharged from the Sampa Government Hospital, while 1 who suffered a head injury has been transferred to the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. He is said to be responding well to treatment. This clarification comes after earlier reports falsely suggested that the injured officer had died. The clash, which broke out between the Samudur and the Sangba Geifla factions, saw gunfire exchanged and several shops set ablaze. Chief Inspector Thomas Akila, who speaks for the Bono Regional Police Command, said that the officers were deployed to the scene after receiving a distress call. They also escorted a fire tender and an ambulance to help contain the situation. He confirmed that the police team came under fire, resulting in injuries to some officers, while their service vehicle with registration number GP686 veered into a ditch amid the crossfire. The police say that calm has since been restored in Sampawe. Intensified patrols and investigations underway to bring the perpetrators to book. Let's speak to security consultant Richard Kumado, who's joined us for a quick chat on this. Mr. Kumado, good evening. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Let's start with what's happened in Sampa. From your perspective, what's really driving these recurring clashes over chieftaincy?
It has been an issue with us for many years. Pre-independence, we've had chieftaincy issues. After independence, we never thought we were going to travel with issues of chieftaincy dispute for a very long time. But in recent times, because of sophistication of guns and people having the ability to mass up their crews, in the least instance, it has come to the fore that this is a canker that is threatening the lives of everybody, and it's even not sparing the people who are in charge of law enforcement. So that is the unfortunate situation, and that is where we find ourselves.
How is it that there seems to be an increase in the possession of arms? Because there is a situation, there's a chieftaincy situation almost anywhere around the country that it flares up. There are reports of gunshots, and mostly it looks like the citizens that start firing against the police, and then there is a return of fire. But how come we have an increase in the firearms, possession of firearms by citizens?
It's not just the possession of the firearms, which is a major concern for all of us, but it's the usage. They are so bold in using it, and they bear the consequences. And so that is where you will need law enforcement punitive action. We are not just taking the guns from individuals who might have a gun, who might be illegitimate people, but you should also be bold enough to prescribe a punitive action for people who use their guns to the extent that people have been hurt or people have been injured or people have died. They have to face some level of punishment. I think our system has become in such a way that we don't punish people who flout our laws. So people take the law into their own hands. And we are talking about sophistication of guns that has the ability of causing huge levels of damage within the shortest possible time. To the extent that there are police people involved, I want to believe that the police authority will take a drastic measure against those who did this particular act. And we should take it forward in that regard.
Right. And do you think that the security officers have been able to manage the situation so far? And is it decreasing, or we should be concerned about the regularity of it?
I think we should be concerned. We should be concerned. The police has been lenient on people who misbehave with firearms, particularly during funeral, and traditional authorities have the ability to ask these people to shoot guns anyhow. And our funerals and festivals have become a grant for people to settle scores with firearms. And I think the police would need to be a bit more aggressive. They would need to be a bit more strict. And they would need to be a bit more serve as people who have the ability to punish people who flout our laws. I am a bit more worried. These days, you can't have a friendly disagreement with people and go home and sleep. The next thing you hear, they are looking for guns to come and kill you. And it's creating a little bit more high levels of insecurity in our society, and it's not necessary at all.
Right, Mr. Kumado, thank you so much for your time. And Richard Kumado is a security consultant, and helping us understand the situation and how security officers can be assisted in resolving some of these chieftaincy issues, which even the president mentioned a few days ago about how chieftaincy concerns have come up a number of times, and it even is frustrating the efforts to fight Galamsey because there are some underlying chieftaincy concerns. So it is more of a national issue rather than a district or regional concern. Well, time now for business, and Bestmark Ewusa is in the studio and he will take it over from now.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bestmark Ewusa. Coming up tonight, Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, flags suspicious fuel sales volumes among members. We'll hear from Chairman Gabriel Kumi. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, has raised alarm over unusually high sales volumes reported by some of its members. According to the Chamber, certain oil marketing companies are recording fuel sales that exceed those of market leaders despite operating fewer than 20 service stations compared to over 200 outlets run by top-tier players. Speaking at a press briefing in Accra, COMAC Chairman Gabriel Kumi said the trend raises serious questions about the integrity of operations within the sector. He added that he suspects these as attempts to abuse the Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund to the detriment of consumers.
In every petroleum product you buy, you pay, I think 98 pesos, 95 pesos as your contribution as a consumer into the fund. So if some individuals have made it their cash cow and is cashing from it, we expect the general public, Ghanaians, we expect my brother, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa, and his people to rise up against that, because the UPPF fund is funded by the ordinary Ghanaian, by the taxpayer, you and I. So why should a group of people decide to feed from a fund that the whole country is contributing into? That is our concern. And secondly, that does not even give us a good data. Somebody called me to say that, hey, Upper West LPG is booming there. I'm going there to set up LPG. The figures are not right. So you can't even use that for national planning.
And that was Chairman of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Ghana, Gabriel Kumi. Moving on, Ghana's ongoing fifth review under the $3 billion International Monetary Fund Extended Credit Facility is in its final stages, with negotiations in Accra expected to wrap up by Thursday, October 10. A positive outcome will clear the way for the release of the next $360 million tranche to support the country's economic recovery and fiscal stability. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report. Ghana's fifth review under the International Monetary Fund's $3 billion extended credit facility has entered its second week, with discussions between the IMF mission and government officials expected to conclude by Thursday, October 10. The IMF team, led by Dr. Ruben Atoyan, has been in Accra since late September, engaging with technical teams from the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana to assess progress on fiscal consolidation, debt restructuring, and monetary policy implementation. Sources close to the talks say this phase of the review places strong emphasis on domestic revenue mobilization, a critical element of Ghana's medium-term fiscal strategy to reduce dependence on external borrowing. A successful outcome will trigger the disbursement of $360 million, bringing total support under the program to about $2.66 billion. Analysts believe the review's success will help strengthen investor confidence, improve foreign exchange reserves, and sustain the country's ongoing efforts to restore macroeconomic stability. The IMF-supported program, approved in May 2023, aims to restore debt sustainability, rebuild external buffers, and promote inclusive growth through sound fiscal and structural reforms. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report, bringing us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Osa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Rick Wampofu is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on CFM 92.7. We start off from the Black Stars camp, where Ghanaian forward Brandon Thomas Asante has been handed a late call-up to the Black Star squad ahead of their crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Central African Republic and Comoros. The Coventry City attacker is set to replace Inaki Williams, who was forced to withdraw from the squad due to a late injury setback that he picked up in the match against Mallorca on Sunday. Thomas Asante's inclusion comes at a time when the 25-year-old is enjoying one of the best spells of his career. He's in red-hot form and scored a couple of goals and an assist over the weekend for Coventry City. Here is my colleague Mutala Yakubu on what he brings to the team.
Looking at the form he finds himself in at the moment, I think that it was only prudent for the technical handlers to give him a call-up, because even over the weekend he scored 2 goals in there, and he's been in fine form, both trying to contribute to whatever Coventry is doing and also ensuring that he banks in the goals. And I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. We're here when Christabel was ignored. Then he came in for an injured Elisha Usu. Yes. Quickly he got into the first 11. So I wouldn't even be surprised if we have Brandon Thomas Asante also getting into the first 11. But it's a huge opportunity for him with just 2 games to end the qualifiers. Whatever you do in the last 2 games could be on the minds of the technical handlers from now till when the World Cup squad proper is announced. So he needs to take this opportunity by the scruff of the neck and ensure that he goes all out and gives his all for the Black Stars, because we cannot allow this qualification to elude us.
Well, that was my colleague Mutala Yakubu. Now let's move from Ghana and go to Morocco, where our reporter Michael Oteje is currently stationed in the team hotel. Now the Black Stars are set to train for a second time this evening, and Michael provides us with all the latest updates from the camp in Morocco.
At the moment, the Black Stars have what you can effectively call a full camp. I think with the exception of Jonas Adjete, everybody has reported. Kamadin Sulemana, Brandon Thomas Asante. The last batch of players to report earlier in the day were Thomas Partey, who came in with Jerome Opoku, and Ali Duseidu, who is back in the national team after missing 6 months through an anterior cruciate ligament. The team is currently training, and then tomorrow morning they would leave for Meknes, where the match is being played. Overall, very nice, calm atmosphere in camp. I think Otuado's main priority has been to keep the players in the sort of bubble that reminds them that the job is not done, and that the job will be done by focusing on the Central African Republic game as if they needed a win at all costs. But at the moment, he has almost every player he needs to execute that job in camp, as I mentioned earlier, with the exception of Jonas Adjete, who is expected to join the team later this evening.
So that was Michael Oteje bringing an end to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7, and also to Hot Edition as we wrap it all up here on TFM. My name is Oreo Kampo. We'll be back again the same time tomorrow to bring you the latest news in Ghana and the continent and beyond.